Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Sci-Fi Chronicles, and I'm here with my good mate Brian. How you doing, pal?
Hey.
You all right? Yeah, good to
I'm
see you,
okay,
mate.
man. How you doing?
I'm struggling a bit, mate. It's going to take a hell of a lot of Romulan ale to get through what I've just experienced today.
Well, I got
mate,
a whole
to be
bottle of it right there, bro.
honest. Yeah, send it to me. Send it to me. I need it. So we are talking tonight about episode 1 and 2 for Star Trek Academy. So first off, what are your thoughts on it, mate? Before we get into some bits.
I thought it would be worse, if I'm being honest. I've figured something out about this show.
Yeah.
The writing isn't bad yet, but the casting is horrible. Like, if you took these characters and gave them actual, like, non-DEI casting, like honestly, if like I guess the main character isn't bad, he's fine. But like a lot of these, like the hologram chick, why? Who chooses to look like they have Down syndrome and overweight? Who chooses that?
Well,
is that a platonic thing? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And I'm not trying to talk talk trash on the actress or whatever, but like, you got to cast your show so that people want to watch it.
You do.
And I would say 80% of this is cast very poorly. The bad guy is actually pretty great so far.
Giamatti.
But then isn't Giamatti always going to be great? I think.
Oh,
right?
He's a great actor, isn't he? You know, he's always going to bring something to the table. I'm just going to pose this to you, mate, quickly. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The episode starts right. Okay, we've got a shot of space, and then we've got Holly Hunter's Nala. Right.
Right.
This is what she says. She says, a long time ago, Starfleet Academy took the finest minds, hearts, and spirits of every generation and taught them to be lifelong explorers of space, our final frontier. Then one day, fate handed us an unimaginable loss, the burn, and it all went away. Now, all I'm going to say, mate, is they are clearly not taking their best and brightest, because 26 minutes into this episode, we have an encounter with the Doctor where a cadet has already told him that she swallowed her comm badge.
Right. So I know it's also supposed to be like school and like silly kids and all that. Right. I get it. You know, the problem with this show right now so far, I've only seen 2 episodes. I do have access to more. But I'm going to watch it weekly because the screeners I have are actually pretty low quality. That sort of bums me out because in the first episode there's a lot of really cool visuals. Anyways, I think the biggest problem with this, like I said, aside from the casting, and the casting is really poor, but I understand the concept of Star Trek Academy, but it's built on a rotten core because the burn is stupid, Discovery was bad. If Discovery never happened and this show just came out, like, honestly, Discovery never happened and this show came out 10 years ago, set 1,000 years in the future or whatever, after some horrific event that we don't know much about, we wouldn't be as jaded, right? But we're so jaded because Discovery was so bad. And the burn is so stupid. It's so stupid in every way.
It's ridiculous.
Like, if I was writing this show, I'd want to like ignore and just like act like that, and minimize that whole thing. But I guess they can't. So besides that, though, like, if you take away all that stuff, like, the first episode wasn't bad at all. I would argue my biggest complaints are that they're instantly made Starfleet the bad guy really quickly.
Yeah, within 2 minutes. Yeah,
seems like a sort of a political thing right now. I wonder if Starfleet would be the bad guy if someone else was running the country. I don't know, but they did.
I've made some notes about that as well, so I'm on point with you on that.
They made Starfleet the bad guy pretty quick. Now they're trying to come back from that, and Holly Hunter's a very good actress. Okay,
but she sounds hammered. She sounds hammered in this.
But she sounds hammered, so she's just the wrong person for this job.
Yeah.
It's not that she's a bad actress. She's just the wrong cast. If you wanted to have a strong female, there's so many options you could have had. That wasn't And who knows? Maybe Holly Hunter grows on me. I don't know.
I,
But
I,
Paul Giamatti's good. The main character's fine. But a lot of like, honestly, even the fat chick on the bridge, like initially I'm looking at her, I'm like, why is she there? Like, but she had a couple of decent moments that was charming. If that character, because it was because of the writing, not the actor. If that character was like an appropriate Starfleet officer, I would be liking that character right now. But I can't get over the fact that that is a morbidly obese person on the Starfleet on the bridge of that ship.
well, well, she's there clearly, and it's going to be every week. She's going to turn up, and she's just going to go, "This would be a good teachable moment," because she says it twice in the first episode.
I mean,
and you're
that
like,
was sort of cool and charming. It just came out of the wrong person. It's funny because the writing so far is not bad. Even though
oh,
even though you're building it on it's not as bad. It's not as bad as I thought.
no, that's Discovery. You mean?
It's not as bad as Discovery. I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought we were going to open with some like hardcore gay sex.
Yeah.
And then someone talking about how horrible white men are or something. No, I mean, like, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Giamatti's not bad. The main character's not bad. He has like the whole I'm a bad boy thing. I've had a hard time. And you know what? He doesn't overplay it. It's interesting. Like, I thought it was going to be like some over dramatic guy talking about his past nonstop, but he actually makes some jokes, which is, by the way, people that have broken homes and rough past, I am one of those people. You mask a lot of like your childhood issues with humor, and you sort of just deal with it, because hard times make strong people. The opposite of that is what we got in Discovery, where like as soon as someone had hard times, they would start crying and talking about the pronouns. So this character is not doing what I thought he'd be doing because of Discovery. He's acting semi, pretty normal for what you would go, for someone who had gone through that, what he'd gone through. The writing is not horrible. And maybe it's because my bar was set so astronomically low that I'm watching this and I'm like, it's not that bad. Also, I sort of like the fact that they had like the little robot guy. I always forget the name, man, from TNG, the little robot, sentient robot guy.
Yeah, I know. Thing. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's cool. And they had the rock guy in the second episode from Prodigy.
Yeah. Prodigy.
So they're borrowing from things we don't see a lot of that are sort of fan favorites, which is cool.
I was going to say, mate, that when you're talking about the writing as well, I didn't think personally, I didn't think the writing was great, and there were some.
No, it's not great.
No,
it's not as horrible as I thought it was going to be.
And I think I'm different to you because I've had a long break since I last saw Discovery, compared to you. So I think I've desensitized a bit more from how.
Oh yeah, and that's the problem. It's like I make videos about Star Trek, so I've seen thousands of hours of Discovery against my will, I might add. when I have to create histories, I have to watch Discovery, even though I don't want to. I have to find things. So I'm constantly inundated. I have had very little break from Discovery, because the main channel constantly feeds me Star Trek crap. Yeah, but it's not as bad. I thought it was going to be overly dramatic. I thought it was going to be start Discovery season 5, bro, where everything's pronouns, everyone's dramatic, everyone's, and it just wasn't that. We learned that there's a world of photonic beings or whatever. So hologram people, which I know there's going to be Star Trek nerds that are going to complain about that. I gotta say though, it's sort of cool.
I mean,
and I'm a Star Trek nerd. I've probably forgotten more than a lot of people know, but I understand the tech behind it is sort of like shady, but it's sort of cool and it's new.
I'll come on to my point on the holograms in a sec, but there's a few things that I picked up on. So within the first 2 minutes, we see young Caleb, right, with his mum, and she's teaching him this code. Okay, right. You've got to remember this code. And she says, that's ours, our secret forever. You promise, right?
Mm-hmm.
we get to the end, towards the end of the episode, and Paul Giamatti's Braca knows the code. So it's just a complete nonsense straight
Yeah.
away.
And I'm not going to try to fix their writing right now. Like I did this with
Yeah.
Discovery for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to justify it with some kind of headcanon. Because I do that, I go, well, how do I make that work writing wise? Now I've been burned so many times by Kurtzman that I'm no longer going to do that. But if I was going to do that, I would say perhaps his mother is now in cahoots. Perhaps his mother hates Starfleet. She did escape from
with him.
No, she escaped on her own, right? Yeah,
No,
with Rekka.
Well,
right,
he says they broke out together, doesn't he?
Okay, so they broke out together, so maybe she's in cahoots. Maybe she taught him that because maybe that's the giant reveal toward the end, is that she's not the good person that they start the show with. Because of her past trauma, she has turned into the villain. Because she had to do what she had to do to survive. And the farther you go down that road as a person, trust me, I know, the farther you go down the road of doing what you got to do to survive, the more of your soul you give up a little bit, right? Until you're eventually just the villain. You're the villain. And it's entirely possible. And if it was written well, that's what I would do. I would make her the villain, and that would be the reveal in the season finale. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they're going to make a woman of color the bad guy. It's got to be the white guy. But if the writing was good, I would do it. And it would be a 3-dimensional villain. It would be a very 3-dimensional villain because she didn't want to become the bad guy. She had to become the bad guy. And it would be interesting. I don't think they're going to do that, but it could happen.
Yeah.
I just don't want to fall into that trap again, being like, oh, this is sort of interesting. Let me fix all these problems I'm seeing and inconsistencies with headcanon or with like writing fixes that they're never going to address.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, when you were saying earlier about that they're setting up the Federation to be the villain, they do it in the first 2 minutes because when she's on trial with that Braca, Paul Giamatti's Braca, basically says, and I agree with Braca here. Braca basically says, no, a woman was starving, and I had a solution, not an idea, not good intentions, a solution. Right. So he did right. He basically did it. And I think where she blames the Federation at the end of that trial, and she's basically saying, don't trust them. She chose to get into that no matter how desperate. So she's got to pay for the crime of it.
Right. Dude, when the second he said that, by the way, just want to go back to the I was like, you got to do what you got to do to survive.
Supply and demand. Yeah.
Right. And like, and if you have to eat, then I'm sorry, like even biblically, and I'm not trying to get religious here, but even biblically, the Bible, like, and if you got to eat, you got to steal. Like, yeah. like there's got to be, there's the people that do bad things for good reasons and the people that do good things for bad reasons. And it's entirely possible that Giamatti and this mother character are sort of 3-dimensional characters, and they're not just much as twirling bad guys. The fact that he opened up with that, like, you guys just talk. I acted to feed this person.
Exactly.
I gotta say, I'm not hating Giamatti right now. If you want me to not dislike this person as the bad guy, I'm not disliking him. Also, he could have killed. Is it Caleb?
Yeah, he could
have killed Caleb.
I think for me,
in that first episode, he could have killed him, and he didn't.
I think for me,
what's that about?
I agree. For me, he's the best part of that first 100%. Episode.
Because he could have killed him. He could have killed him when he right. Yeah. Yes, he could have killed him when he didn't have to, when he didn't need anything from him anymore, but he didn't. So that's good. That's a good villain so far.
Yeah,
and Picardo's not bad, bro. I thought Picardo was going to be
Picardo was playing it straight again, kind of like he was on par with how he was in Voyager.
Right. And the explanation that he installed like an aging thing to his processor
ago,
so that organics wouldn't trip about him. Well, that I gotta be honest, that's the best. I couldn't come up with a better explanation. Could you? I couldn't.
No, not at all. And that comes on to what you were saying a few minutes ago about the holographic, overweight Mickey Mouse haircut hologram in the show. If you've got if you've got an entire world of sentient holograms now, they've got access to all of the databases of their history and other
Right.
histories of civilizations.
Right.
They've got access to, you know, characters throughout history. As we saw, there was a Voyager episode where they were being used and recreated. So
Mhm.
you're telling me that they thought, yeah, what we need to do for the Academy, we actually need to have a very immature who is technically 17, but she's only been alive 4 months, but acts like a 4-year-old to go into the academy. You just wouldn't do it. You would look at the Doctor when he first appeared in Caretaker and Voyager. He
Well, yeah,
was
I don't know if he was sentient then, though.
he wasn't sentient, but he was a program, but his personality was based on his creator. So he was
Right.
tetchy. That was the difference then. Now,
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the casting, though. Like, and I hate to be, I don't want to like make fun of this poor person. Like,
it's
I don't
bad.
know.
It's bad.
I don't know her. I'm sure she's a fine person.
Mm.
And I don't want to talk shit because she's
Character
overweight.
in the show. We talk about the character in the show. Yeah.
So like the character, it's just it's bad casting. You could have had like an overeager sort of young photonic, but it just doesn't make sense.
No.
And it doesn't have to be immature. It can be it can have it's very hard because I don't want to be mean, but like it's bad casting. Just like the poor bridge member who has a thyroid condition is bad casting, dude. It is.
Well,
like you could have cast someone. You wanted a woman. You could have cast a woman that looks like she belongs in Starfleet. This looks like a fan. Like she looks like she belongs in a fan film.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking shit on the actress. Okay, glass house, bro. I'm a big dude, but like, I'm also not in a show called Starfleet Academy. No. If I was, I'd be hitting the fucking gym like nonstop, dude. I'd be making sure I look like a goddamn Starfleet officer.
Yeah. Well. Let's jump to the next issue. There, we've got a Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid who is overweight, in charge of physical fitness at the academy and military training. I have to say, mate, like you say, don't attack the actor in particular, but this character is awful. The acting is terrible in it.
Well,
it's like
I think she's doing what she thinks the script is telling her to do, and like they're trying to blend Jem'Hadar and Klingon into this tough broad, right? And I think she's probably a bad actress. I don't know, but it's obviously the wrong choice, though. First off, I don't even like the idea of a Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid. That doesn't make any sense to me. But if I got past that, you need to cast someone that looks like a Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid, not someone who looks like she works at the local Hilton on the weekends. Like, doesn't make any sense, bro. And again, I'm not talking about her, even talking about her weight. I'm talking about what she looks like without all the makeup. It doesn't work for that hybrid species.
And the inside of that hotel as well is like a lobby of a Hilton hotel. 100%. It looks like they've just sculpted off a Hilton, without a doubt. The other thing I was going to bring up as well, mate, is you've got Holly Hunter's Nala, right? She talks to the young Caleb, right? There's two things here that really stuck out for me, right? She brings up about she'll take him to a school on Bajor, right? So they name drop Bajor and they show Bajor, but she's talking to him. But this is an example of where the 1 minute the burn is relevant, next minute the burn isn't relevant, because like we've talked about, and we talked about when we did the Stargate show at the weekend, where the writers actually put a bit in and they said explaining the next section of next sequence, and it explained it all. This they could have put in there that it's in the Bajoran system, and you wouldn't be asking those questions. But now you're like, well, how are you getting to the Bajor? Because the burn is meant to have stopped that, because this is set during the burn.
Dialogue should answer questions, and every once in a while it should ask questions, but it certainly shouldn't like confuse the audience. Yeah, and I know they wanted to name drop Bajor, so they did. But what that did was, and look, and maybe in any other sci-fi show, it maybe wouldn't matter as much. But like, this is Star Trek. And Star Trek is for the fans of Star Trek are very smart. These are the people that study frame by frame, that get every single partner book and look at every lore and like know the amount of ridges on Worf's forehead. This is the kind of stuff that you can't just name drop Bajor and people not go, well, wait, what? Wait, so how does that work with the burn? Because yeah, the Bajor shouldn't exist right now, according to the burn, right? Maybe, yep. And so now you got me questioning. I don't want to have any idea. I don't want anything to do with the burn. So every time they talk about it, I start to tune out.
It makes no sense.
Because it's the most retarded thing ever. The burn was so stupid.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it? Yeah. And I know they're stuck with it, but you know what? You could have done this show in 2024, whatever, instead of Discovery timeline, and we wouldn't have had to deal with the burn whatsoever. But I guess why would we be? Then again, why would the Academy have been dissolved? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, that's another question. I mean, also, I was going to say I did laugh at this point when we see the young Caleb when it all starts. When you have the exterior shot and it says, "Warning: Level 3 sandstorm," right? And then you see a few minutes later, you see young Caleb escapes with the comm badge out into a flipping level 3 sandstorm. And again, literally that guy's flying off and his head is smacking into a rock.
Bro, yeah, it's funny as at first I had to like rewind. I'm like, wait, are they in space, dude? Because I didn't see the establishing shot where they like came out on the planet. So for a minute there, I was like, did homie just like crawl out of out into space? Yeah, I mean, who knows? The kid, I think it was also trying to show that the kid had, like, you know, he's got moxie, you know, he's a rough and tumble kid. And it fits his character. Again, the guy actually playing the proper version, not the kid version, but the adult version of this character, isn't bad whatsoever. He's not a bad actor. I don't think the writing for him is that bad. I think he's playing it the way a traumatized teen would be playing it. I mean, that works fine. I don't like teen dramas, but it's not like, it does not so over dramatic. I watch my kid watches stuff that makes me want to like shoot myself in the face. This is not horrible at all. So I'm giving him a lot of points for that because I wasn't annoyed by him, and I felt like for a minute. I mean, when he first got there, he was real insubordinate. I was a little annoyed, but again, it's first day. I mean, it makes sense that he's not 100% on board. I don't know. I'm giving too much credit, dude.
Can I also say, mate, the shuttle scene, right? When you get to the end of this episode,
I hated that.
He's been disciplined at the end of the episode, right?
Right.
Because he broke the rules because he attempted to contact his mother and he hacked into the system. So what was it? The Federation Council.
I mean, bro, based on Discovery logic, he should be captain of the ship now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. I mean, at least they're actually punishing the guy.
Yeah,
because based on Discovery logic, he should be captain of the ship and president of the Federation.
My point is,
right?
100%. My point is, right, they discipline him for that, but yet in the shuttle, he bites off some guy's ear, right? And clearly 2 of them are dead or close to death after he's given them a pasting, you know?
Yeah.
One's still conscious. Guys. So it's like, you hacked into a system, but we won't talk about the murders.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they lived. It's possible they lived. But I don't like the fact that the shuttle that's like 1,000 years into the future, that was already 500 years from now, is
slammed
like,
into this ground.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have any kind of like autopilot controls whatsoever. Like he kicks the joystick with his feet, and all of a sudden that thing is just crash landing. I mean, like shuttles that we've seen, that just wouldn't happen. Did shows get worse? I don't know. I get that. But I'm trying to like not be too critical of that. You know, it felt more like Star Wars than Star Trek. To be honest.
It's funny. I did laugh, mate, because when I was watching that scene, I typed a note and where I put the usual Kurtzman guard grunts get up to walk towards him, right? And then I put after it, I wonder if there might be a fight scene any moment showing how powerful this guy is.
Well, I mean, at least they showed that he was smart, right? So he was like conserving his energy. He made sure they got close. It wasn't like all of a sudden this guy has superpowers. Like, it took effort, and he struggled to subdue these people, and he was smart with it. So again, Discovery, I'm so tainted by Discovery. You
Yeah.
give me a half decent fight scene with a half decent character, I'm like, cinema. You know?
I'm also going to say to you, look, this is something I'm sure you picked up, and I think this is definitely a reference to Ice. Okay,
It felt like
in
a
this
reference
show,
to Ice, but then
because
again,
the,
didn't they write this like years before the Ice thing?
well, remember, it was kind of still going on when we had Picard season 2, because they didn't like Ice then, did they?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
because
that's right.
remember, so they had it then. But I think for here, mate, where we get Captain Nala, let's talk about her first of all. So she decides, she says to the Admiral, she says she's not taking, she doesn't want to take the job, okay, to run the academy,
Mm,
because she feels guilty because she broke up a mother and her son, right? And she says in it, and I quote, "I separated them. Separating children from their parents isn't exceptional, it's reprehensible." Now, straight away, I was like, well, no, that's
right.
just not true. What if the parent is beating or abusing the child? It's
Yeah.
acceptable to remove them then, isn't it?
Or
You know?
murdered someone. Yeah, yeah.
And I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah. No,
oh,
yeah. That when I heard that line, I was like, that's just stupid.
yeah.
Like, children need to be, like, children should be separated from uh people that have like drug addictions that put their kids in harm's way or
Yeah.
harm those children. 100%. Like, that's
It's
silly,
just
bro.
stupid.
My
It's
my mom
stupid.
my mom was a stripper and a drug addict. Guess who got sole custody of me when they divorced? My dad
Yeah,
did, for a reason.
exactly.
Now, one thing though is the showrunner's name is Noga Landau, and as she's very good at all this CW, teen drama crap, right?
Yeah.
The only credit I give her is that she doesn't, in none of her other shows does she push politics into the show. It's always about the teen. It's very sort of one dimensional, but there's no politics in her stuff.
Yeah.
There might be some LGBT crap or whatever, and of course DEI, sure, but like, she doesn't really do modern politics. So if there was modern politics in there, it was probably pushed in there by Kurtzman.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was directing it as well, wasn't he? He directed
Right.
both episodes. One other thing that annoyed me with this episode as well is Holly Hunter's Captain Norga. On the bridge, and she's scrunched herself up on the chair, slouched across it, reading her book. And it's like, I always remember when you talk about the documentaries for like Voyager, and they say about Janeway, they wanted her to come in and command the bridge. And they said about when she sat in that chair, there was a presence to her,
Right.
that's what it should be, sitting down in that chair. You're meant to be setting an example.
Right.
So I'm sorry, but
Holly
your legs
Hunter's
hanging out the
character.
side.
Yeah,
Peculiar.
she feels like a hippie that just happened to get a job as a Starfleet captain or whatever, or chancellor. When she's walking around with her bare feet, I'm so glad that other guy was like, why don't you have shoes on? Because my first thought was, why doesn't this woman have shoes on? This is ridiculous. This is Starfleet. What are you doing?
And she said,
At least they answered it. At least they answered it, I guess.
She actually said it's regulation, and she says she effectively broke the regulation because she.
No, she said she got
wiggle
no,
room.
she got an allowance for it. I guess I guess maybe that's one way to get her, like, they're trying to show that she's smart, that she talked her way into an allowance for her bare feet. I don't know. It seems like a problem with me, especially like, what if you get attacked? You're gonna have you're walking around with that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also, you're setting an example for the cadets. So, if you're willing to try and push things to wiggle room,
I can just imagine my drill sergeant in the army walking around with bare feet. Like, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, through a minefield.
So the first episode, just to get past the first episode and try to get in the second, for me, I would say I did like Giamatti's character. The writing wasn't bad. I do not mind the main character Caleb at all. I like the space shots. I like that they included a bunch of stuff. I like Picardo. Like, there's things to like about this. Unlike Discovery, there was almost nothing to like about it. other than the name Star Trek. But the casting is so dismal. It's very difficult to get past the casting. And I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm going to be able to get past the casting. You know, it's going to take a lot of phenomenal acting and really good writing in order for me to get past the casting, because the casting is very bad. It just is.
I
Holly
mean,
Hunter is a fine actress, but she's not a good captain or whatever she is of this.
for me, I don't
And her
even
bridge
think,
crew is ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, for me, I don't even think the holographic girl's the worst.
No,
Actually,
she's
I
not.
actually
She's
think
not the worst.
the Klingon Jem'Hadar for me is the worst,
That's
followed
the
by
worst.
Holly Hunter, and then holographic
You
girl.
know what's funny? I thought I was going to hate the Klingon guy, you know, because he
Yeah.
looks so effeminate.
And he didn't say much, but he's gay, isn't he? I think because he looks at the guy and he says,
I don't know, but at least
makes
he
a
has a deep
speech.
voice. Like,
Yeah.
I have expected him to get on man like, hi. I expected him to have like a lisp, but no, he has like a deep Klingon voice. Like, it feels like Klingon proper, even if he looks very effeminate. You know?
At least he's worked on that. Yeah, it's
right.
But you know,
It does seem like some people have really put their effort into this. Like some of the actors, some of the set people, like the graphics people. There are people that have certainly put a lot of effort into this, and other people that just didn't. So.
I mean, what I was going to say, mate, as well. One thing I picked up again is in episode 1, they're attacked, right, and they make the point about the holo emitters are offline, so the medical holograms can't get there.
Right.
But they carry Jem'Hadar Klingon hybrid to the medical bay. You would have thought at least one medical officer would stay in sick bay. There's no one else in sick bay at all.
Yeah, we need to figure out some things too. How does the photonic being, how is she able to walk freely? The holo emitters are down, but
she's okay.
Because she's okay, and Picardo's okay, right?
Yeah.
How are they not? I guess Picardo has the.
You don't see him wearing it. You don't see him wearing it.
But you don't see him wearing it. I was looking for it. You don't see him wearing it. So I'm not sure what that's about. How are they able to operate autonomously without holo emitters? And then additionally, the second they say the holo emitters are out, Homegirl says pull up the emergency holographic communication. Guys, if you just said the hologram emitters are out, use a different terminology, because that's confusing. Immediately, I'm like, wait, how much holographic crap do you guys have going on here? I'm confused. And how is it connected? See, I'm asking too many questions. And I think in these shows, you're not supposed to ask so many questions.
Yeah, it's plot hole heavy. I mean,
I just want to know here, quick pause. How in the world did a Klingon and a Jem'Hadar hook up?
Yeah.
Question. Well, I got a question for that. How old is Holly Hunter's character? Because she is now dropped.
She's saying, isn't she?
Yeah. How? She's that old? How? Are humans living now like 500 years? Yeah,
exactly. I mean,
that's silly if we're doing that now.
It's just questions they're not answering, and they're just leaving them open. The other thing I found strange as well at the end of episode 1, mate, is when the cadet goes outside, he goes onto the ship because they've got to scan the programmable matter. Well, there's two things, right? The first one is we've already seen that the drones are inside the ship putting out fires. So they're working. Why wouldn't you send a drone out? Okay, that's the first one.
They wanted to showcase that species' ability to survive in space for a brief period of time, I think.
Yeah, but
also, I have more questions now. A, where did that species come from? Can it shapeshift? How is it able to look like a human? And
why? Why is it looking like a human? What's the point of that?
We know what the point is: to save money. Right? Like that's the reason. They can't have him in his weird alien form. That would be very costly. They're already doing that. They already have too many aliens.
I think also the thing is, what I found funny as well is they make him walk a distance to scan programmable matter. And I thought straight away, it was the actual devices that he was having to walk to, but it wasn't. He looks down and he scans the programmable matter. But when he's in the first scene where he comes out, it's literally all around him. So again, it's like you said, it's to make him how long he can last, but it makes no sense at all.
Right.
I,
It was
I
a
think,
device to try to show his capabilities, which
but
at least he couldn't just last forever indefinitely. That would have bothered me.
the other thing when you were saying about the Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid, about how did they conceive? Because the Jem'Hadar were always a male clone race,
Yeah, they're clone
right?
race. Yeah.
And
Now she did say her mother was Klingon.
yes, correct.
So at
Yeah,
least they did. At least they got that part right.
yeah. But do you know what they got wrong? Jem'Hadar, right? When she's in the sick bay, they pull the blade out and a load of white blood comes out. They've mistaken that Ketracel white is a chemical that they're dependent on and addicted to survive. It's not their blood. It's a tube that goes in that they're obsessed that in DS9 it's established. It's like they're like drug addicts because they need it to survive.
Right.
It's not their
That's
blood.
that's what keeps them. That's what keeps them working for the Dominion. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's their power of control. So
Yeah.
I mean, again, these are people that don't really pay much attention to classic Star Trek, do they? Really?
Yeah. That character doesn't make sense to me. The photonic character, she's the least offensive, but the casting's wrong. I like the idea of a photonic, like, I guess, race of people. That's sort of rad. But when you establish that the Doctor can change his appearance,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the wrong casting then. And you could have used anyone. And that's another question. Like, what? I guess this makes that poor actress, very, what's the word? Expendable, because like they can always just swap that person out for a new person. At any
Exactly.
moment,
Yeah.
right, and it'd be the same character.
Yeah, exactly. I've also they put in from the original series. They put in the black and white cadet. Did you see it with the face, the black?
Yeah. There was a
Which
lot
is
of
from the original series, but they died. There were only 2 left in the original series episode, so they've shoved that in as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of member berries like that though. A lot of Orions, I noticed.
But their planet was gone. They were wiped. It was decimated in a war.
Yeah.
So
somehow some survived somewhere on a colony.
Two men. Yeah.
2 men. All right. So let's just wrap up the first episode so we can quickly cover the second. That's my whole thoughts. Like I didn't mind it whatsoever. I thought it was gonna be way worse. Obviously, the things we just mentioned, I have an issue with the casting. I have an issue with throwing things out there just to sort of name drop, and all it does is ask questions. That's a problem. I don't like the Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid whatsoever. And I think that Starfleet officers should be on strict diets, or maybe take Ozempic.
Well, it's all those site-to-site transports.
I'm not trying to throw stones at a glass house, but I'm not a Starfleet officer. So.
It's because of the site-to-site transporters. They're not doing any exercise.
I'm not doing exercise. Also, I hate the site-to-site transporters. Here, I'm sorry. Quick rant, okay? The personal transporters make no sense. Let me ask you a question. If it's part of like their comm badge, are they teleporting the transporter and themselves at the same time? And wouldn't that take an enormous amount of energy? Like an enormous amount of energy.
Well,
where is this? How do you teleport the teleporting machine?
Yeah, they would have to be tapped into in some magical fantasy warp core.
So I always assumed that like the ship handled the teleporting and the comm devices were like just slave systems, and so you weren't teleporting the entire teleporter. You were just using those comm badges as beacons.
Yeah.
But then in Discovery, we see them using them when they're on that I think the last season when they're chasing the bird people, running from the bird people, remember?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, there's no ship anywhere near them, so that doesn't make any sense. So maybe that's good. Maybe they're going to retcon that because it doesn't make any sense for the personal teleporters to even exist. Site-to-site transport is fine, but like the comm badge cannot be the teleporter.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. I just thought it was again sort of a gimmick, wishy-washy nonsense again that they've just thrown in there to
Yeah.
move to the next piece. I think for me, I thought it was awful. I do agree with you. I think the effects were really good in it, and it really frustrates me because they
Yeah.
have they're able to do effects like that, but it's just garbage that they're being used on. And it's such a shame. But I think talking about the second episode as well,
Yeah, just
mate.
to be clear, overall, I didn't hate the first episode,
Yeah,
but my bar is super low. I just
yeah,
hated the casting, didn't hate the story. So,
yeah. I think also, mate, the second episode, moving into that, I think, look, it starts right with Nala, okay, talking to the cadets. And,
right.
it's doing the cityscape view. And the thing she says is, in all my time, there's one thing I've learned to be true. If you want to serve the galaxy, make your bed. What?
Well, that's actually a military thing.
It
So
is, but
in the
it's,
army, they say the same thing. Like, if you want to serve your country, it starts by making your bed.
yeah,
That's
because there's a general that released a book as well, wasn't there, a few years ago about
yeah,
that?
yeah. When I was in the army, it was the same thing. Like, you want to serve your country, it starts with making your bed. Because I guess the question always came up is why are we making our beds? It's a
Yeah,
waste of time.
yeah, yeah. I just again, it's
So
like,
they just borrowed that from the American
yeah,
military, which is fine, I guess. I guess that's how you would teach young people discipline. Discipline does start with like the very first thing you do should be getting out of your bed and making your damn bed, I guess.
yeah. I
Now,
just
do I
didn't
do
like
this as
it.
an adult? No, that's absolutely not. And I've never taught my kids to do that. I tell them to make their bed after a few days of seeing it not made. But yeah, in the military, they have the same thing. Like, discipline starts. The very first thing you'd be doing should be making your bed, not taking a piss, not taking a shave, not smoking a cigarette, making your bed. And I
Yeah,
think the reason they do that is to teach discipline. And so that didn't bother me, but it felt cheesy, like super cheesy.
there's a lot of cheese in these
Yeah, a lot,
episodes.
especially when the second episode is a ton of cheese.
It's
Yeah,
like a four cheese pizza. It's that bad.
yeah, it's a 4 cheese pizza. The Betazoid president, I was getting so annoyed. I'm like,
Oh,
why are we doing? First off, quick question:
sign language. What?
why is he deaf? And I get it because the actor is deaf. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So they wanted something cool there, so they built the deaf thing into his character. That's fine. But why is he using American Sign Language?
yeah. I know. I was watching it and I was like, I actually got to a point and I thought to myself, right, this is what 900 years in the future from next gen era, right?
Right.
Approximately.
Yeah.
So everything I've seen so far makes me think that species have now regressed quite drastically.
I mean, but you wouldn't be using ASL on
No.
Beta Z. And you certainly, I don't even think you'd be using ASL in 900 years after the burn. But let's just say, like, if he was an American, character, or not American, but an Earth character, I guess it would make sense. ASL is pretty much the standard now for deaf people to communicate across the world. So that would make sense, except for that character's from Beta's end. And it did bother me at the end a little bit. Like, they wanted to show the weight of it, so they let him take off his pin and say something with his mouth. But listen, if you didn't know the actor was deaf, and that's the reason they built that in the character, you would have so many questions as an audience, as a visual audience, like as the audience, we're watching. If you didn't know the behind the scenes stuff, you'd be like, why wasn't that character talking the whole time?
Yeah. I was like,
You'd be asking that question.
well, not even that, mate. If I was the admiral opposite him, I'd be going, what the hell, man? We know you can talk.
Right.
We know you lot can talk.
Right.
Why
They
are you
should have
messing
left
with
that
me?
part out. If they wanted to have a deaf character, left that part out. Also, don't have it be ASL.
Yeah.
Have it be some made up, and they're not going to make up a whole hand language for this. Then if you wanted to use the character's telepathic abilities, then maybe, the fact that the character's deaf, then maybe just make them telepathic.
Well, you're right. And the thing is, there's history.
It's Star Trek. We're in the future. Give them something that we can communicate to the computer or something.
But we've got history of Next Gen from season 2, where they had the Jeff guy with the 2 aides that was done so much better than this, and again, like you said, it's
It's an
completely
able thing. They
unnecessary.
want to they
Yeah.
want to show the different, And
Um,
I like the fact that an actor that has that disability is getting work, but
yeah,
you just got to ask yourself a simple question: did no one in that writing room ask this question? Why
yeah.
is ASL being used on Beta Z?
Yeah, I was watching it back and I like checked and I thought, is this the same Beta Z with Deanna and Waxana
Yeah,
Troy? Is
yeah.
that the same one, or have I slipped into a parallel realm here? You know, but it was ludicrous. But I was also going to say to you, we've talked about the burn and how ridiculous it is, right?
Yeah, it's stupid.
This is 900 years in the future, right? The
I
burn
think I
is
think by now it's 1,000.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So
Right.
they've established in this that it's been 134 years since the last Starfleet Academy was formed because of the burn, right? So you've had the Federation for over 900 years, right? And then you decide to throw it out for 134 years. The principles, the ordeals, everything. You create a war academy. You become isolationist.
Right.
It's just nonsense. And of course, with that burn nonsense,
I
yes, the
still don't even
dilithium
understand the
crystals.
burn.
No,
Like
I
they
mean,
go, well, we had to leave Earth because of the burn. Did you?
yeah.
Why?
But what I don't understand, mate, and I'm still trying to get my head around this, and I did when
Confused.
it was in Discovery, is you've got okay. If I accept the fact that some upset kid has basically blown up every dilithium crystal, if I can accept that,
Right.
right? That's one thing. You haven't got okay, there's two elements to this. The first one is you haven't got the tech there to use and fuel your ships going forward. Okay, I get that. Right. We'll park the rest of it for the
But that
second.
doesn't mean
But
I'm not trying to go back to
but I'm
Discovery,
but
but
I'm
there are
talking
other
about
forms of
communication.
there's other forms of
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my second points. You're
right.
900, 1,000 years in the future. You don't think that someone's figured out a new power source in that time?
I mean, didn't the Romulans use like a singularity or something?
They did. They
Right?
did.
What about slipstream? Like isn't there other forms of travel that doesn't rely on dilithium?
100%.
I don't want to
And
go back to this thing with the burn.
no,
It's so retarded.
but I was
But the burn shouldn't make you all of a sudden some like it shouldn't force you to leave Earth. Like
well, y what I don't get about the breakup of the Federation, okay, even if you say you couldn't travel there, right, you're still able to communicate. You still have technology able to get communications to nearby planets or systems. This is what they kind of fluff over. So I don't get this whole all of these planets have sealed themselves off, Beta Z have put them behind what is it, a psionic wall or whatever
yeah,
that
I didn't
nonsense
understand
is.
that. What the
Uh,
hell is a psionic wall, dude?
so they can't get in and they can't get out,
Is a psionic
right?
wall like a telepathic thing?
Yeah,
Like
so it's like Mass Effect that you basically can fry people just by
that's
them
dumb.
coming into proximity.
It's
It's
dumb.
mad. But
They just
what
needed some way to like lock off Bajor. I'm sorry, not Bajor,
Beta
Beta
said, yeah.
Z, and they just couldn't figure out a better idea other than psionic wall.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
and do you know, when they're doing the negotiations, right, Beta Z, the president of Beta Z, effectively, he says, what is it? He says, we want 12 combat ready ships near our system, right? And I with this whole interaction, I was chuckling at this because there were two things to it. One, I thought this is a Brexit, UK Brexit with the EU political point they're trying to make here that, oh, we should really be rejoining, we're like the president of Earth. But
Mhm.
also I thought they are trying to play Trump here.
Mm.
100%. This is what they're doing with the president of Beta Z because he's
Yeah,
an
yeah, like
isolationist. Yeah.
isolationist, tribalistic, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Us
they did
first.
it. I thought that initially too, but then they sort of made him like they sort of made
They
him
softened him afterwards.
they
Yeah.
softened him up, and I was like, wow, they wouldn't do that with Trump, right?
And
Yeah,
and and I was also going to say, mate, on that, with the whole negotiations, they want 12 battleships near their system.
six.
S- Oh, okay, 6. Sorry, corrected. So they want them. but they go, "Oh, we can't do that." Blah blah blah. They go away and have a conference. You get to the end of the episode, and they've gone, "Well, we're not going to give you the 12 ships, but we're going to put the Federation government on your planet now." So they had a weak hand, Beta Z. They've gone way beyond 6 ships now. They're the
Well,
center of it. So the next planet that kicks off and says, "I want more ships," do they then shift to that planet as well, the Federation government?
Well, the wild thing about that is I didn't have a problem with the 6 ships. Like, you should have no problem having 6 ships within 5 light years of Beta Z. That's like a security thing, so they don't get raped and pillaged by those whoever.
Yeah, Pio Giamatti's lot, yeah, whatever they're called.
But the thing is, they overplayed their hand when they said we want 6 seats at, maybe it was 12 ships. I don't know. Whatever. I don't got a problem with the ships, but they go, we want 12 seats at the table and an automatic veto. Well, like obviously the Federation's not going to agree to that. Yeah. That's like me saying, "John, I'll join your company, but I get to live in your house whenever I want." No. Like,
I'm still waiting to come back to you about that, mate. I'll let you know my answer.
I mean, like you're asking for something that's obviously unattainable. Like, obviously you're not going to give them, because at this point their 6 seats don't matter if they have full veto control over decisions made by the board. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Can I tell you 2 funny things that made me laugh? Well, 3 funny things, right? You've got James T. Kirk Pavilion,
right?
Which I just like, oh, okay, great. But also, when you see the wall of all the people written on the wall, the Star Trek legends, the Academy legends, clearly there's not been any great quality in people for the last 900 to 1,000 years, because they're literally all DS9, Voyager, and Next Gen original series.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I did like the fact that when they were like, no one can get here in time, and they name dropped the Discovery.
Yeah.
And they said the Discovery's under retrofit right now. So like that way, and that's good, because the first thing a Trekkie would ask is, the Discovery can be anywhere right now. So that's bullshit.
Spore
obviously.
drive, yeah.
They got spore drive. But I got 2 questions for you. So I like that they did that. I like that they took the Discovery out of commission and name dropped it to make sure that there was no plot hole there. But how in the world have they not fitted more of their ships with that spore drive?
I know. It just did they lose like all the top quality engineers in the burn?
Bro, the first thing I would do as the Federation president or whatever would be like, listen, the Discovery,
retrofit everyone. Yeah,
everyone gets a spore drive. We are officially the superpower in the universe.
Yeah.
But obviously, even they know that the spore drive is so OP, bro.
I know. It's a crazy thing, isn't it? It really is.
It's way overpowered, bro.
And
like, I love how like they're writing balance patches into the show, like to try to fix Discovery problems, though.
Yeah, exactly. Just to power it down. Can I also talk to you, mate, about the star charts? Right. So that Caleb's looking for this planet, right? It's 130 years now. Stellar drift and everything. Why do you suddenly need the Betazoids for half of the star chart? It's
behind the sonic wall or something. Yeah, they should have already had that information. But I guess it was so that planet was, what they said was, the planet was founded after the burn, so it would have been after the sonic wall went up. But then that asked me the question: how is Paul Giamatti getting in and out of that sonic wall?
Exactly.
How did he get back? How did his mom get there? So many questions, bro. Do they got some corrupt officials in the Betazoid government? I don't know, dude. Maybe.
Yeah. And I knew it was coming, mate. As soon as I saw the first episode start, I thought to myself, they're going to show the humpback whales from Star Trek 4 at some point. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I saw a comment too.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the Betazoid characters real quick, besides the president. I do like the female character.
The daughter was good. Yeah, the daughter was a good actor.
I didn't mind the son either. At the end, he sort of like broed down, which is what a 17-year-old would do. she was great. Just sort of came out of nowhere, and that line when she goes, "You're literally on the fence." It was actually pretty funny. That was funny. I like that character. I like that she didn't join the academy.
Yeah, she went to the war.
Right, because she didn't want to be. She didn't want to be near. She probably didn't want to mix business and pleasure. I'm assuming. But I like that. That is good. I didn't want her to be part of that. Like, it'd be so inconvenient for all of a sudden that character just be part of the academy.
Yeah.
Last thing I didn't like. I liked the little AI thing that was trying to get him to turn around or whatever. Keep the. And I like that he used Fibonacci sequence and a bunch of like to confuse it, which is funny. That's exactly what, like, if you'd ask an AI to do it, and AI would now ChatGPT would just say, I can't relate. That's too much to do. But in the past, if you were using LLMs before, you can actually crash servers by asking it to calculate pi to a million points or whatever. It would literally crash servers. Right. So I mean that was clever.
Again, sadly, we had miserable lesbian Discovery cast member turn up in this episode.
Oh yeah, well. Tig Notaro, right?
Oh,
that's if they're gonna pick anyone from Discovery, that is the only one that I wouldn't totally hate, even though I don't like her. She's so much better than like Tilly,
and that's coming.
Michael. I hope not. Although I saw the actress that plays Tilly recently, and she lost a ton of weight, dude. Michelle, whatever Wiseman.
Ozempic, yeah.
So are we gonna see her and she's gonna be all skinny because she lost a ton of weight, like a lot, bro.
I think they've already cast her.
She doesn't even look like the same person anymore, dude.
No. Maybe
Mary Wiseman is her name, right?
That's right. Yeah. And can I also say?
Oh my God, bro! She is so skinny.
She is. She's like one-dimensional now,
bro. She doesn't even look like the same person.
I am looking forward to seeing how they manage to link that into the show. To be honest with you, that took more than a few runs around the disco deck, without a doubt.
Wow, she doesn't look like the same. She looks like a different person, dude.
I'm not. Can I
just share my screen real quick? This is wild. Look how incredibly different she looks.
Yeah. I mean, that's that new miracle injection working its magic, isn't it?
Yeah, that at some point we're gonna figure out that like Ozempic like does something crazy, and all of a sudden all these people are now lizard people or something insane.
Yeah, but they already reckon there's talk about bone density issues that they're working on. So
all I know is that people that weren't meant to take there are people that were meant to take Ozempic, people that are diabetic and people that are morbidly obese, right? Those people that have taken it have lost weight, got to a healthy level, and got their diabetes under control. Yep. But the people that used it, took it recreationally to lose weight, to become, that where they could have just done it with exercise, those people for some reason look like cancer survivors, dude. Like they look all of a sudden, all of a sudden they're 15 years older. They're wrinkled on wrinkled. They look like their hair is falling out. Like something. They look sick.
Yeah.
And I think, like, cause I'm a big dude, and I'm in the middle of this diet. I'm trying to lose weight again. And my wife was like, "Why don't you just do Ozempic? Because I can get Ozempic." But I'm
just do natural.
Yeah, I don't want to. I just don't. I don't trust it. And everyone I see take it looks like they survived cancer. I'm good. I'm just gonna lose weight.
There's something to be said for the hard graft. The results, getting it from the hard graft, doing it the hard way.
Right.
It's the proper way that's been done throughout history.
It's like that's the way. That's the way. That's definitely like you're not gonna kill you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, anyways, she does look way skinnier, so I'd be curious to see what she looked like. But according to the cast notes, she's not in any episode unless it's a surprise casting. Yeah. I looked at every IMDb thing and I couldn't find her name anywhere. And I couldn't find Burnham's name either. Thank God.
Oh, please don't let that be a spoiler. I will say, I'm calling it now. We're going to see hologram Janeway in it because, as you said, you had a creature similar to the Star Trek Prodigy creature going through the hallway.
Right.
I think there's going to be a Janeway hologram moment at some point.
Yeah,
I
they
can
seem to
see
have a
that.
lot of they have a lot of Prodigy references,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
makes sense because Prodigy was like besides Lower Decks, it was like the only thing that was remotely successful. So
yeah. And can I also say, mate, when we're talking about cheese, when in episode 1, just to finish off, when they get to Earth and they've got the cover of "If You're Going to San Francisco,"
yeah,
and the Athena, the nacelles, which are Athena wings, detach and it lowers itself down, and I'm just like, I'm not sure my body is able to cope with this level of cheese.
you know what the
It's
crazy
going on a
part is?
stage.
Like the
It's,
idea of using,
unbelievable.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. The idea of using the San Francisco track, that's not a bad idea. Um, they just somehow made it cringe. It would have
yeah,
been cool if it was like a cinematic ballad version of that song or something, and you had the majestic ship coming out of the and through the atmosphere. But they just increase like it. It could have been cool, but they
yeah.
used the wrong mix of that song. And I hate the whole detachable thing.
Oh,
It felt super cringe. Really cool idea, poorly executed.
yeah, yeah. And again, I always remember, when I've watched Star Trek documentaries, and when they're talking about, they said about Rick Berman when he was doing the Next Gen and DS9 and that, and he said, when you're making a ship, it's got to be simple so a kid can draw it, and it's got to make sense. And when you have, you had the greats before, and they would make it, and you knew exactly, I heard it before, gear porn, and you what the nacelles do.
Right.
It makes perfect sense. And again, this was a stupid thing that was brought in from Discovery when they
Yeah.
detached the nacelles of that nonsense, and they've just carried it on.
Yeah.
It's
It's stupid. It's super stupid. I hate it. I hate it
yeah,
so much. But I'm not totally hating this show right now. And I think it's because I dropped the bar down real low. Look, I'm
yeah.
telling you right now, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're probably not gonna like it. Um, but it's not as detestable yet as Discovery was, and I would even argue it's not as bad as Strange New Worlds either. It's not as good as Strange New World season 1, but it's better than season 2 so far. And maybe that's because Paul Giamatti. Maybe I don't really know why, but I'm not totally turned off yet. And maybe that's because we haven't gotten any weird gay hyper woke things happening yet. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't like it at all. But again, we've talked about it
just trying to be
earlier in the
honest, like
show.
I've
Yeah,
complained nonstop about Discovery. I'm just
yeah, yeah,
trying to look at this show as an island
yeah,
and divorce it from the other stuff. It could be worse. Could be
yeah.
worse.
And I just, and I think for me, if I take all of the fact that it's Kurtzman, okay, because as you know, I've got a big problem with Kurtzman. I know you're on the record with me. The only Star Trek I've liked in the last few years is Star Trek Picard season 3, and Terry Matalas. I really hope they go right. We want to fix this thing. We're giving it to you going forward because I think he'll do a great job.
He's making
But
that Disney money though,
he
bro.
is, he is,
He's
yeah,
making that, and
exactly.
I actually saw. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to name drop, but I got to see a little bit of a teaser for Vision Quest. I think he's gonna do great with that show, man.
It's the only
I
reason
think,
I'm watching a Disney
and
show, mate.
and he is once again getting so lucky that that's going to come out around the peak hype for Doomsday.
Yeah,
Like honestly, like he couldn't have picked a better timing, because like had he done Vision Quest and released it last year, no one would have watched it because everyone, even though it was good, everyone hates
yeah.
Marvel. Hey Marvel, but Doomsday is doing this thing where it's starting to build up the hype again, and Vision Quest is going to come out at like peak hype. He's once again the guy is going to get another win. I think he's going to have another win.
I think I just think going back to this show as well. I think if it was anyone else that had done it, I mean, again, I have a bias here because my view has always been I've never wanted a Star Trek Academy show ever. Never wanted
Mhm.
it. Didn't need it. I think the concept's stupid. You know, it's a case of tell don't show. We saw
Right.
snippets of it in Next Gen and DS9 and Voyager. You know, I don't need to see a series
It's
about
just
it, you know, in
limited. Like,
depth.
what are you gonna
Yeah,
do? Is every episode gonna be about these people learning and interacting and drama between them going to school? Because that's not really what Star Trek is about. And you opened up with one episode where they're in space, space battle, all that stuff. You know, it's gonna be really hard to continue that because they are grounded, quite literally.
yeah.
And I'm not sure how they can possibly get past that. How are they gonna add actual danger and stakes into the show if they're in San Francisco?
Yeah, and they're not. And I think it should have been a show about, right, okay, whether we like the burn or not, but it's rebuilding the Federation, not just the Academy, and it's reaching out to colonies. Are we going to be able to do exploration again? Is it going to be frontier exploration again because of what's happened? You know, we've got fewer ships than we had before. You could have done all of that, but they didn't. They're just doing this, and it's not great, but
You know what? Although if they get to the end of this season, right, and they graduate these people, and the next season is them serving lower decks on a California class ship, I'm down for that. Live action lower decks. Let me get some of that, bro.
and I will finish off by saying, mate, look, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, you see cadets on that ship, right? It's like night and day. But I'm going to say to you, you've got the girl who swallows her comm badge, and later on, when it's all blown up, all she keeps doing is walking around saying red alert, red alert, red alert. You imagine if Kirk sat on that bridge of the Enterprise, the Defiant's coming, and he turns around, he's like, "This is damn peculiar, right? Yellow alert,
Right.
shields up." And all she does is looks back at him and goes, red alert, red alert, red alert. And he's like, for crying out loud, love, put the flipping shields up.
Right.
That's best and brightest. Best and brightest. That's what the academy should be because of scenarios like that. You know, crazy. But
It's so funny. Run alert,
that
run alert.
but no, I mean that's it for today. Thanks everyone for joining us, and you know, there'll be more reviews of Star Trek Academy in the next few weeks. Yeah, take care all. See ya.
Later, guys.